guys, welcome to a new reading vlog. I have some pretty big lofty reading goals this week. So let me run you through what I want to read. First up is Unmasked, and this is Paul Hull's new biography. It just came out last week, I think, or the week before. I pre-ordered it, so I picked it up on Friday, and I have been tearing through it. I started it this morning. I'm already 126 pages in. It is incredible. If you don't know who Paul Hull is, he is an outstanding cold case detective. He's retired now, but he has been critical in a lot of the cold cases being solved. He is probably most well known for helping to solve the Golden State Killer case, which was just amazing. Like one of the most frustrating cold cases, and Paul Hull was like, I'm on it. And interestingly enough, he talked about it in here. He started looking into this like when I first started working in this kind of career, and it was like in the 90s and he was the first person, so he was the first person to create a DNA profile for the Golden State Killer, which inevitably, this was in the 90s, but 2018, I think it was 2019, was the reason that he was caught. So yeah, this is really fucking good so far. And then I got a library hold came through. I am a big M.R. James fan. I think he is probably one of the most influential ghost story writers of all time. I've only read one collection of his, but I just was craving some like old spooky ghost stories, so I put this on hold at the library, and it finally came through. And this is just another collection of all of his ghostly short stories. I've only read the first one so far, but it was pretty freaking great, obviously. And then two books I have not picked up yet. The first is a new manga series, Hell's Paradise. Looks pretty cool. There's this website that I get all my kind of like manga recommendations from, and I think this one was on the like most underrated horror mangas. And I think it's kind of like a historical horror, so definitely looking forward to that. And then on that same website, I saw a list of the best mystery stories written by Japanese authors and translated into English. And this guy was on there, Seishi Yokomizo, as like one of the best of all time. So he has quite a few books, but I grabbed this one to start with because the premise really intrigued me, and it's called The Village of Eight Graves, a classic Japanese murder mystery. So yeah, that's what we're gonna get into this week. Here's to positive vibes all the way through. Here's to staying mentally well and getting a lot of reading done. Okay, It has been a week. I literally have not updated you guys in 5 days. It's been... I just dropped all the books. It's been a little crazy. It's just been a little wild. Okay, so let's do a reading update. I finished Unmasked. I finished that in like a day and a half. Absolutely fascinating. Paul's whole career is just like my dream. If only I was smarter. But yeah, it's super fast paced. I really liked the perfect mix of personal versus like, here's my personal life, here's my crime life. And yeah, highly recommend. He's a really intelligent dude. He's lived a really cool life. He's helped solve a lot of really important cases, and he's continuing to do so. I also finished Hell's Paradise Volume 1. This was really freaking cool. I loved all of the art so much. And the story is basically about sort of a group of leaders, and they've discovered what they consider to be almost like a heaven, like paradise. And they believe that in that place is the elixir of life, which would grant immortality. But every time they send people there, they either never return or they come back and they're like super fucked up, like plants coming out of their face. Like, it's awesome. So their plan is to get a bunch of criminals together and send them over there. And whoever comes back with the elixir of life can, you know, be pardoned of all crimes. And this guy, Gabamaru, is teamed up with a very awesome ninja. And they're headed into paradise to try and find the elixir of life. It's very funny. It's very violent. The art, like I said, is stunning. I literally drew like half the book in my sketchbook. And I really definitely want to pick up Volume 2. My M.R. James collection of short stories. I am exactly halfway through, enjoying them a lot. He is, I mean, I've already said it. He's just so freaking good at ghost stories. And he barely ever puts in like detail. And like, that's the beauty of it, is that there's no like huge detailed descriptions of the horror. He puts these really vague, creepy descriptions, and then your imagination just runs wild, and it's so good. Okay, and then The Village of Eight Graves. I am about a quarter of a way through, and oh, my arm is getting tired. Okay, there we go. I did a very intense workout this morning doing mostly lifting, so my arms are tired. Yes, so I'm enjoying this murder mystery very much. A young man discovers that he is the descendant of a family that is very much cursed. So he heads to this village to meet his surviving members of his family and learns that he's to become, you know, kind of the heir of this fortune. But people keep dying around him. They keep dying in horrific deaths, and they all seems to be poisonings. So he is trying to figure out what's going on. There's also a detective there who is helping. It is very much a slow burn, so I didn't read a ton of it this week because it was just too slow for my brain after work every day. But I have absolutely no plans tomorrow. Surprise, surprise. It's Saturday. So I'm going to be spending the whole day hopefully reading that and finishing it. And lastly, because I wanted to read something after work every day that was a little bit easier to read and more fast-paced, I picked up The Wife Upstairs, a Rachel Hawkins thriller. I think this came out last year. It's like a creepy thriller retelling of Jane Eyre. About 50 pages in. You know, it's not blowing my hair back, but it's doing the job, which most thrillers seem to do for me. So yes, that is it. That is my reading update. Got a lot going on, reading a lot. Looking forward to the next 2 days where I have no plans. I think I'm going to put together my Izzy Hands cosplay right now from Our Flag Means Death, which I'm excited about. And then I'm going to watch 90 Day Fiancé and read and try and relax. got a lot of reading done this weekend, let me tell ya. I finished The Village of Eight Graves. I gave it a 4 out of 5 because it was very slow paced, but I really enjoyed it. It's very much, I mean, I see why he's called the Agatha Christie of Japan. You know, it's very much that style. Lots of characters, lots of suspects, lots of twists and turns, and the setting was really cool. So yeah, you know, I'm glad I picked it up. I don't know if I'll pick up another one of his books because those kind of slower mysteries are not my vibe. But if you do like them, you should definitely check him out. And then I whizzed through, why is the bookmark still in here? Anyway, I whizzed through The Wife Upstairs yesterday and this morning, and it was another 4 out of 5 for me. I did not see the final twist coming, which I appreciated very much. You may be thinking, it's a Jane Eyre retelling. Don't you already know what happened? And yes, but there's a twist on a twist. But the overall ending, I was like, ugh, kind of lost me there. And the sort of like insta-love stuff, I'm just not into that. And there's a lot of that going on here. But I did enjoy reading it a lot, and it definitely kept me captivated. And I thought the twist was quite clever. So yeah. And then today I've read 150 pages of Valley of Terror, which is a Chinese thriller, although I think it's more of a horror novel, to be quite honest. It's not really thriller. And this is really fascinating. There is a lot of Chinese military history that I don't know anything about. So there have been a few times where I've had to just quickly have a Goog and read through some wiki pages just because it is set in, you know, modern times when it was written, which I think was like 2008, 2007. But the sort of lore of what's going on was based very much in like very olden times. So I'll just read you the back of this because, you know, I'm terrible at telling you what books are about. Mysterious fear disease is scaring to death the citizens of Longzhou, China. Literally, victims go insane or die frozen in terror while survivors rant manically about demons infiltrating the city. But what's really behind the sudden epidemic? To find the answer, Chief Inspector Luau teams up with a controversial historian and a brilliant psychologist to track down the true source of the illness and halt the wave of horror that threatens the metropolis. As the trio ventures to the primitive jungles and mountains of Yunnan, they're haunted by tales of a 17th century general whose demonic soul, said to have been sealed away in a vial of his blood, has been unleashed on the modern world. So the part that I'm at, the trio have hit the jungle and things are not going well for them. It is a lot of fun. The characters are very, very unique to each other, which I appreciate. You know, the professor is very much like, we must figure out the evidence. We can't jump to conclusions. And then the police detective has like this really interesting spin on everything. Even though it seems very supernatural, he's got this kind of like really grounded view on things. And then the historian is like this total internet troll, and he's hilarious. Okay, so my home read, Valley of Terror, is my library read, which means that's usually the one I take to work every day. My home read, I've picked up Night Shift, and it's very much something I love. You know, I love an Arctic horror novel. So this is on a mining base in Antarctica. Anders is the last-minute replacement as head of security. It should be an easy job. The crew have been rigorously checked and the base is completely self-sufficient. But Anders has no time to integrate himself before an act of sabotage threatens the project. All communications to home are cut and the base is left completely isolated. As the new arrival, suspicions fall immediately on Anders. How will he be able to do his job when all of the crew suspect him? He must untangle a complex web of relationships from his position as prime suspect. But soon the stakes are raised further. Systems fail as the long night falls and a body is found in the ice. Will anyone endure the night shift, or will frozen corpses be all that remain? So yeah, this is going to be my home read. I'm going to pick this up this evening. It's Sunday evening. I'm going to watch some Expedition X. I'm going to read. I'm going to relax because then it's back to work tomorrow. And there's a lot going on at work, y'all. It's not great for me right now. But that's okay. We're going to get through it. reading update. I know I have not been feeling fantasy lately. It's been all horror all the time, but I've been feeling the fantasy bug creeping in. And last night I just was on TikTok, Book Talk, going through all the cosplays, and you know, I just was like, I really want to read something fantasy, but I want to read something that's familiar to me. And I wanted to pick up the From Blood and Ash series because I read the first book like 2 years ago, and then I started reading the second book, and I put it on hold because my fantasy vibes were gone. So I thought it would be the perfect time to pick it back up again. So this is Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, the second book in the series, and I was just under halfway through when I put it on hold, so I've picked it back up. This reading vlog is all over the place. I'm just reading anything. I'm just in that mood where I want to read everything at the exact same time. Like I'm craving fantasy, horror, thriller, history, romance. It's just like, I'm just gonna go where my moods tell me to go, which is this. So I wanted to do a quick like book haul update because I got some stuff, and then I think I'm gonna wrap up the vlog here so that I can kind of like get my reading vibes sorted and then start a new reading vlog that might be a little bit more fantasy oriented, or who freaking knows, I might be like, hey, here's 4 more horror novels. Okay, so first thing I wanted to show you guys is I signed up for the Fairyloot adult fantasy subscription box, where basically every month they send you an adult fantasy novel, and I believe they're mostly new releases. But Fairyloot, if you don't know, they do these absolutely stunning editions of books, and this subscription box is just a book, but it's really well priced for the fact that they're sending you this like stunning edition of a book. But you don't know what they're going to send you every month, so it's super exciting. So I thought I could open my new Fairyloot box and we can see what book's in there. Oops. Okay, here we go. The theme is divine power. Let's pull out. Oh. Okay. I'm excited. Ooh, I'm seeing some black sprayed edges. Ooh, she's a thick boy too. The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. I have not heard of this. Okay, so there's the cover. And on the back, for each realm there is a god, and for each god there is an heir. Actually, that does sound familiar now that I'm reading that. Okay. Ooh, look at those end pages. Very pretty. Signed. Ooh, it has what do you call them? The ribbon bookmarks. So cool. Let's see what's under the cover. Ooh. Oh, is she pretty? Ooh. That's a pretty book. That is a pretty book. Oh. Gorgeous. Okay. Let's figure out what it's about. Okay. The 4 realms, life, death, light, and darkness, all converge on the City of Dusk, ruled by the 4 noble houses of Nexus. But the gods have withdrawn their favor from the once vibrant and thriving city, and without it, all the realms are dying. Unwilling to stand by and watch the destruction, the 4 heirs, Risha, a necromancer, struggling to keep the peace, Angelica, Eliza, and Peggy. Angelica, an elementalist with her eyes set on the throne. Tasia, I think I'm saying that right, a shadow-wielding rogue, love a rogue, with rebellion in her heart. And Nick, a soldier who struggles to see the light, will sacrifice everything to save the city, but their defiance will cost them dearly. The City of Dusk is the first in a sweeping epic fantasy trilogy set in a gorgeous world of dark magic, vengeful gods, and rebellious chosen ones. That sounds right up my alley, you guys. I love a necromancer. My goblin cleric in one of my D&D campaigns that I play. She is basically a necromancer. Anyway, that's awesome. This is amazing. The other thing I wanted to show you guys, 2 more things. So, as you all know, Critical Role is my life. And they're doing a couple of specialty items that are sort of like more comfier, cozy, fashionable, like not very clearly D&D items, which I think is super fun. So they put out this cardigan first, and then they put out kind of like a Henley shirt. And the third item was a onesie, which was really cute. And then we don't know what the 4th item is yet. They haven't released it. While I loved and appreciated the onesie, I'm gonna wait to buy that until Amy gets back because we're gonna get matching ones. The Henley shirt I love, but I don't think I'll probably get it. I appreciate what they're doing, but with the Henley shirt, it's literally just a plain shirt with like a teeny tiny little Critical Role thing on the bottom. And I'm like, girl, I want to show that I love Critical Role. Anyway, this is the cardigan, and it's based off of Caduceus in Campaign 2, who was a grave cleric. So it has his little bugs all over it and his little teapot. And then we've got the 20-sided dice, some mushrooms, and on the front, more scarab beetles, it's tea, and it's so, like, it's beautiful quality, and I love it. And it's super oversized, which I appreciate. Usually I buy large and everything because I want to be drowning in my clothes, but they said this is oversized, so I got a medium, and it's oversized, but like exactly what I like. I'm drowning in it, just like I'm drowning in this extra large t-shirt. Oh, I love it. It's so cute. The only thing I don't love is that it doesn't have pockets. Laura Bailey, you should know, put pockets in a cardigan. But other than that, it's perfect. Okay, lastly, oh my gosh, you're like, please stop talking. My pre-order came in for Holly Black's new fantasy novel, Book of Night. Good thing I'm in my fantasy mood. Potentially. This is her first adult fantasy novel. She usually writes YA, so this is very exciting. End pages. This is the Indigo exclusive because obviously I'm in Canada. So this just came out last Tuesday, so my pre-order came in last week, but I didn't pick it up until today. I'm not going to read you the premise because this is really long and I've been talking a lot, so maybe we should just wrap up really quick what I've read. And yeah. Okay, I'll be right back. And I'm back. It's been 2 hours, but in video time, it's been a second. Do you think I'd be more organized, but I'm not. But here, let me just, we've had a lot of reading, you guys, you know that. Okay. Finished, 5 out of 5. Finished, 3 out of 5. Finished, 4 out of 5. Finished, 5 out of 5. Finished, 3 out of 5. Finished, 4 out of 5. Started these guys. So yeah, that's a freaking lot. So thank you for hanging in with me. I know this one's a longer one. This really got away from me, but thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Have a wonderful week, day, evening, wherever you are watching this. Thank you.